Hey friend, imagine you're right there with me on that warm sandy shore as the sun climbs higher, waves gently kissing the rocks, the scent of salt and fresh coffee drifting from a little cafe nearby. You know that quiet ache we all carry sometimes, when life piles responsibilities on your shoulders and trust feels like a risk too big to take? Well, lean in close, because this story is about to pull you in heart first. It starts with three ordinary people whose paths cross for just one single day, but by the time the sun sets, everything feels brand new. Stay with me till the very last word, I promise. When you reach the end, you'll carry a little piece of unbreakable hope with you, the kind that whispers, even one moment can rewrite your tomorrow. Ready? Here we go. Hook complete. Now the story begins. In the sleepy coastal town of Seabreeze, where fishing boats bobbed like old friends in the cafe, Morning Tide had seen better days, lived a young woman named Arya who was barely 24 but carried the weight of 40. Her parents had slipped away 2 years earlier, one to a sudden illness, the other to a broken heart that simply stopped beating, and left her with a stack of unpaid bills, a cafe that was barely scraping by, and her 9-year-old brother Matteo, a bright-eyed boy who still drew pictures of Mom and Dad coming home soon. Every morning Arya woke before dawn, braided her long dark hair, wiped the sleep from her tired hazel eyes, and whispered to herself, "Just keep going for him." She smiled for customers, but inside she had built walls so high that even the sea breeze struggled to slip through. Matteo, with his messy curls and endless questions, was her whole world. He helped wipe tables after school, but lately he'd been quieter, sketching lonely boats and asking why friends at school had moms who picked them up while he waited alone on the bench. Arya's heart twisted every time she saw that look in his eyes, the same one she saw in the mirror when no one was watching. Trust had been shattered before, a landlord who promised patience but raised rent anyway, a supposed friend who borrowed money and vanished, a boy who swore he'd stay but left the moment life got real. So Arya had decided, no more chances. She would protect what little she had left, even if it meant living behind that careful, polite smile. One ordinary Thursday, the cafe bell jingled and in walked Elias, a tall, quiet man in his late 20s with kind brown eyes, sun-bleached hair, and calloused hands that spoke of honest work. He was new in town, hired for a one-day community project to help reopen the old youth center down the street. He ordered a simple black coffee and noticed how Arya's shoulders slumped when she thought no one was looking. Without a word, he fixed the wobbly table leg that had annoyed customers for months, using tools from his backpack. Matteo, watching from the corner, crept closer. "Mister, did you learn that from your dad?" Elias smiled softly. "From life, kiddo. Life teaches the best tricks when you pay attention." By midday, Elias had helped carry heavy boxes, listened to Matteo's endless stories about his favorite superhero, and even sketched a quick boat drawing with the boy that made Matteo laugh out loud for the first time in weeks. Arya watched warily from behind the counter, her heart doing strange flips between gratitude and fear. When the afternoon rush slowed, she finally spoke, voice steady but eyes guarded. "Listen, stranger. I appreciate the help today, really. But tomorrow you'll be gone, and I've got enough goodbyes already. One night, that's all you get. One single day of being here, helping out. After that, no promises, no staying, nothing more. That's my rule." Elias looked at her, really looked, seeing the exhaustion, the love for her brother, the invisible scars. He didn't argue or push. Instead, his voice came gentle like the tide. "One night, huh? All right. Then I'll make it unforgettable. Not because I want forever from you, but because one good day can remind us all why we keep fighting. Watch me." His words weren't flashy or romantic. They were quiet and sure, like a hand reaching out without demanding to be held. Arya felt something crack inside her walls, but she quickly looked away, afraid to hope. Matteo tugged her sleeve, whispering, "Sis, he's nice, like the heroes in my books." That night, as they walked home under streetlights, Arya lay awake wondering if one day could really be enough to change anything. Dawn broke brighter than usual the next morning, as if the sky itself had decided to join the story. Elias arrived early with fresh flowers for the cafe tables and a toolbox. He didn't just help, he listened. While fixing the leaky sink, he shared small pieces of his own past, how he'd lost his little sister years ago to the same kind of illness that took Aria's parents, and how guilt had made him drift from town to town until he learned that helping others was the only way to quiet the ache. Aria's eyes softened as she realized he wasn't there to save her, he was healing alongside her. Together they prepped sandwiches for the community center volunteers, and Mateo joined in, proudly spreading peanut butter while Elias taught him a silly song that had all three laughing until tears rolled. But challenges came fast, the way they always do when hope tries to bloom. A phone call brought bad news. The bank was threatening to close the cafe by next week if the overdue loan wasn't paid. Aria's hands shook as she hung up, whispering, "See? This is why I can't let anyone in. Everything always falls apart." Mateo overheard and hid in the back room, drawing a picture of their family with a big empty space where hope used to be. Elias didn't offer empty words. Instead, he quietly called an old contact, a grant officer he'd helped once, and within hours, paperwork arrived showing the cafe qualified for an emergency small business fund because of its community role. Then, at the youth center, the roof patch job looked impossible until Elias climbed up with Aria and Mateo handing him tools. Rain threatened, the ladder slipped, and for a terrifying minute Aria thought she'd lose someone else. But Elias caught himself, smiled down, and said, "We fixed things together, remember?" They finished just as the sun peeked through clouds, the center's doors opening to kids who cheered when Mateo led them in games. Throughout the golden afternoon, small miracles unfolded. A regular customer, moved by watching the trio work side by side, anonymously paid 3 months of rent. Elias taught Aria a breathing trick her mother used to use during hard days, and she finally cried real tears on his shoulder, not from sadness, but from the relief of not carrying everything alone for once. Mateo, beaming, told a group of new friends at the center, "My sister is the strongest hero ever, and today she got help too." As evening painted the sky orange, the three sat on the cafe porch sharing ice cream. Aria turned to Elias, voice thick with emotion. "You kept your word. One day, and it's the most unforgettable I've ever had. I was so scared to believe again, but you showed me kindness doesn't ask for forever. It just shows up and stays long enough to matter." Elias smiled, eyes shining. "And look what it did. Your cafe has breathing room. Your brother has new friends and light in his eyes, and me? I finally stopped running from my own grief. 3 lives touched, all because we chose to show up for one single day." They hugged goodbye under the stars, not a forever promise, but a forever memory. Aria watched his truck disappear down the road, but this time her heart wasn't heavy. She turned to Mateo, squeezed his hand, and whispered, "We're going to be okay, little man. Better than okay." And just like that, the sun dipped below the waves, leaving Seabreeze glowing with possibility. Friend, if you're still here at the end, I hope this story wrapped around your heart the way it did mine. Life will always throw heavy days at us, bills, loss, fear that tomorrow might steal our peace. But remember Aria, Mateo, and Elias, one act of real kindness, one honest day of showing up, can crack open the darkest walls and let light flood in. You don't need a lifetime to make a difference. Sometimes all it takes is choosing to be the light for someone else, even if it's only for a moment. Carry that with you today, be someone's unforgettable day. Believe again, love fiercely in the small ways, and watch how your own story begins to shine brighter than you ever imagined. You've got this. Until next time, keep your heart open. The tide always brings beautiful surprises when we do.